the eyes are too narrow. I think that's what the deal is. They're too close together.
They're so light, but then he has those dark eyes. So he's got butthole eyes, and then he's got these little shiners in the middle. So
I can't help thinking, somewhere in the universe, there has to be something better than man. Has to be. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ascension to 10.
Whoa, long fade out there.
Yeah. Well, new computer, so I had to make sure it worked.
New computer. That's right. Spenny mentioned new computer.
Yeah.
We both got new computers since the last episode. And if this works, this is our first time sitting down with both of them. If this works, I don't know what we're going to have to complain about. Because we've had something to complain about almost every episode we've done.
Well, there's always been something wrong for
right?
for the last I don't know 8 episodes. It's just been.
Could this be the final thing that makes us a professional podcast? No,
this could be it, man. This could be where we just take the next step, next trajectory. With the computers, I mean, when we kind of joked about it last week, I think. And then this last episode was just, I mean, my computer shut down like 6 times. So it was finally the nail in the coffin, and I don't know what's wrong with it, but we both got new ones because they were on sale.
They were on sale.
Well, you didn't really have to, I guess.
I didn't really need one, but I felt like getting you to get one was going to require me to get one. That was the sacrifice I was willing to take.
That's the sacrifice.
This is quite the improvement.
Oh yeah,
I had.
For sure.
And then you kind of looked into the problem with the other computer, and it did seem like there is legitimately something wrong with that. And so I think we can likely pinpoint all our troubles to that computer.
Yeah, that sounds like the graphics card was shot, and that's why it kept just. It sounded like it was going to take off every time we just started doing video conversations, like not even recording anything. It was just like,
yeah. So
I think that was just,
it
had met its end. For some reason it got rocked. So we have moved on. We have upgraded.
Moved on.
Happy about
the same computers. Although you had to one up me and get a larger hard drive or something. Fine.
Well,
I decided to mix things up. Did you notice I have a change of scenery over here?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out. Yeah,
and
it kind of looks like one of those zoom filters where like everything's blurred out, but really you just have a blank.
It's just a wall, baby.
Is that purposely? Should have put a green screen.
The thing is, the wall actually is kind of green, but it's showing up as more of a gray or something on camera, so I'm not really sure what that's about.
It looks gray, but
yeah, it's kind of a bluish green. So I don't know.
Cool.
And the other thing is, I don't know if this is going to be permanent because I can hear myself echoing quite a bit, and it's kind of a bad room. So I think this is going to be a one and done for this change of scenery. But I'm mobile now.
Well, I was thinking that maybe it's time that I could. I was to say, I think it's time that maybe I can start going back into the basement.
Oh,
just like old times.
Old time's sake, on your child's seat,
sitting on a child's chair, and using a kid's stool to lift up my camera.
How many episodes did we do with you in that setup?
3 or 4, but it was early, so I don't think we really had any video. from him.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's when
Yeah.
you used to dress up all the time too, or 2 times, and
That's right.
2 times you sitting in an old Weeblo's top on a child's chair.
Talking about
Weren't you using a music stand or
John
something
Carter.
too? For
Yeah, I was using a music stand, yeah. And then I was using Christmas lights all around it. The whole time I could just come upstairs where I am now, where there's floods of lights. So,
man, we've come a long way, haven't we?
yeah, we really have. And that coming a long way, I think we do need to talk about the fat face challenge. So it's supposed to end today, this episode.
It's been 10 weeks, hasn't it?
And we were supposed to do it together, which that just coordinating didn't work. So whatever.
Yeah, we were supposed to do it in person, right?
Yeah, I was doing a workout today, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's episode 26," and I was like,
God, yeah.
So I think we
10
Do you
more
wanna-
weeks. Episode 36.
let's just keep
How
it
about
going,
that?
man.
Yeah, I think what the solution is, the Fat Face Challenge will end. We'll have our weigh-in. We'll have our metric competition comparison. We'll have our shirts off for the comparison for the shirts for the before picture. That will happen, ladies and gentlemen, listeners, viewers, at the end of season 1 of this podcast. So
Season 1.
so stay tuned for that,
Yeah.
because that
Yeah.
is when we are committed to ending the Fat Face Challenge.
Right.
And it's going to be great.
I'm all
It's going
for
to be
it.
a huge, huge episode.
I'm all for it because I think we still got room to grow or shrink, whatever
feel like
you
I-
prefer.
I feel like this week, I was talking about it last week. So last episode, I was saying that I had a 2-week slump, right? Where I didn't do anything. And I had a really good weekend where I worked out really hard Saturday, Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Today's Wednesday. I haven't done anything since Sunday. And I just feel like I did during that. And I texted you, right? I said, I
Yeah.
worked out twice now. I'm feeling great.
Yep.
And that just momentum just disintegrated because now I feel like I did before FFC even started. And I feel like I
great.
look the same. I feel like I've regressed and gotten worse from where the starting point was.
Yeah.
So now I got to start over basically.
Yeah. That's the only way we can do it.
Um,
So long story short, we don't feel like we really did that well. I think.
No.
I think we for like 4 weeks I was like, yeah, and then we really faded. But that's
so we got almost halfway.
I mean, we
can you
could
imagine.
I
Can
mean,
you
we
imagine
could
what
technically.
the-
What?
I was just saying, if we had kept that pace
Oh man,
for the full 10 weeks, can you imagine
I don't know.
where we'd be right now?
I could have done I could do an Iron Man. Could have done it.
Yeah.
I could have done a marathon, and you could have run on the outside, done it with me.
Outside the barrier. just kind of brought my own number.
Right.
The handmade number thing. And
yeah, he's my pacer, but
pacer.
he didn't
Yep.
pay, so he's just gonna run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So look, we failed. I
We did.
think to a certain point, this is the 10-week mark. We did fail in that respect. However, we're not quitting. Just like last week's episode,
Never give
gave
up.
up a little bit here, but that doesn't mean we're quitting.
Yep.
And so 10 more weeks, baby.
Can't just give up.
Call them back. Can't just give up.
Can't just give
So-
up.
Okay. So on that bit of somber news, sorry to disappoint the audience here, but we're not done yet.
I know, man.
So I have a couple stories I want to share.
Good.
One,
Love to hear it.
I'm not sure where this will go, and it's a very quick one. I was watching the lawn care people that the HOA, pays to mow the lawn and stuff.
Yeah.
And they have these, those lawnmowers that are semi-riders where the operator stands on this tiny little platform on the back of it.
Yeah, that's
and
what,
then they just kind of cruise
everybody
around.
uses them. Yep.
Okay. Well, it made me think of one time in high school. I have no idea why we did this, but I brought over my parents' little lawn tractor thing, lawnmower.
Yep.
Over to your parents' place.
Yes.
And look, I always got out of mowing the lawn because my allergies were so bad that it was just terrible for me, right?
Yeah.
So I never mowed the lawn.
You probably should have wore a mask and then you could have mowed the lawn.
Yeah. So I mowed the lawn a few times, right? But it wasn't a chore that I did. And so it makes no sense then why I would bring out our riding mower to your place and help you mow the lawn. And we did it once, right? And then we never did it again. And I just remember it being so weird that I would come over and help you mow your lawn, which I don't think you did ever really, right? Was that really a chore of yours growing up?
It was for a period of time, which I don't really know why.
Okay.
Like we grew up on an acreage, so the lawn was, I don't know, 8 acres of mowing, which is a ton.
Yeah.
My older brothers used to have to use a push mower. But then when I got to mow the lawn, it was one of those riding lawnmowers with a joystick, and so I would just always, the snapper, and you hammer it backwards so it'd go as fast as you could, and then you'd slam it forwards, and then it'd pop a wheelie, drag across.
So that's part of my story. So we get done mowing this lawn, and I don't remember mowing the whole acreage. Right, it was at most the front part of the house. Right,
that's all.
And then we both did that, and then we quit, or that's all we had to do, or something. I don't know why we did this, but when we were done, we lined up in their driveway and for a drag race between these two lawnmowers that were completely different in architecture, right? The one I was on was, he had a steering wheel and you sat on it, and it was very a
lawn tractor.
Yeah. And then you had this platform thing with a joystick, and so we do this drag race, and I remember distinctly that you just popped a wheelie right away at the start of it. But I mean, nothing happened, right? It was just a casual little lawnmower drag race that lasted about, 15 seconds or something. And then we're like, okay, I guess we're done with this. Load it back up.
Cool. So, I remember that, and I have no idea why it was decided. I feel like there was something to do with the fact that you thought the lawnmower was fast, and I was like, no way, it's faster than the snapper. And then
that is my only remaining memory of that too, or justification why we do that is I was, talking up this lawnmower.
My buddy's gonna bring his lawnmower over. What is that?
So basically, we had to, in order to justify this drag race, which I guess was the point of me bringing this, riding lawnmower over across town, right? To do a short 15-second drag race. In order to justify that, we had to mow an eighth of the lawn, right?
Yeah.
Just gave up. Then we loaded back up in the pickup and went home.
Yeah. Probably pestered the pigs while we were there too.
Probably, yeah. So, okay, I have another story, and this one is more of a it's not really a full disclosure. It's kind of embarrassing, actually.
Oh, good.
Yesterday. So, yesterday after work, I went golfing with our friend Ian, and it's at the point of the year now where we can't make a full round while there's daylight, right? So the last hole or two it's pretty much dark, and the last few years, for some reason, my night vision has been getting worse and worse. And so I didn't even play the last 2 holes because I can't see anything, right? I can't see the ball. I can't see right where I'm walking, right?
Yep.
And so whatever, that's fine. But I needed to give Ian a ride home after the match. And so we get back to the truck, and he lives a short distance away from the golf course, and I live. So the golf course is kind of a midpoint between the two of us. So I was already just kind of thinking a lot about the fact that why my night vision is so bad, right? Why can't I see anything? And then we get in the truck, and I'm driving him home, and I'm just having a really tough time seeing the road, and I'm thinking, is this even safe for me to drive right now? What's happening? Why can't I see anything? And it was even weird too, because getting out of the golf course, there was this cop car parked kind of in the exit, and I pulled up behind him, and he just didn't leave. He didn't even acknowledge that I was behind him. And I thought, well, that's odd. So I backed up and then left a different way. And the whole way dropping Ian off, and then getting back home, I was just, man, do I need to pull over? What is happening here? And so I, about 2 blocks away from home, and I as a shortcut, went on this interstate for a millisecond and then got off on this off ramp. And this guy comes flying around me. I'm in the exit lane. He comes flying around me up the exit, and then stops where the stop light is. And he puts his flashers on right away. I'm thinking, what the heck, guy? I'm trying to get home, I'm trying to be safe here. And he puts his flashers on immediately when he stops, gets out of his car, and just starts talking to me like I can hear him. I thought, whatever this is, man, I don't want to hear that. I can't see, right? I got to get home. I can't see you.
Oh, God.
And so he's yelling at me. And so I kind of buzz down the window, and I kind of put my head out, and he says, bro, your lights aren't on. And I couldn't even, it took me a moment, right, to process what he was saying. So I should now at this point should say, so I've had this car for almost a year now, about 11 months.
Oh, wow.
And in that time, I have never once touched the light knob,
the light thing,
right? Because they come on,
off,
and they go off, right? Auto. I've never once thought about flipping that switch. Well, the weekend prior, I had taken the car in to get an oil change at Honda, and I didn't even think about, I haven't.
They turned it.
Yeah, they turned the lights off, and I haven't once thought about turning that switch in this vehicle, right?
That's awesome.
I don't think I've physically ever done it. And so I've operated completely on the assumption that they are on, right? Or they're on at all times. And so,
I guess.
And so now picture this, right? I'm emerging from the last hole of this golf course in my view, complete pitch darkness, right? Because I feel like I can't see anything. I get to the pickup, turn it on, and I still feel like I can't see anything. And I think it's because of me. Not because the headlights aren't on.
But you have day running lights, right? So it was like lightly glowing,
like
something
minimal, tiny little single photon emitters, right? At the front of this vehicle. And so I didn't have any tail lights on, right? I mean, obviously the brake lights work, but there's no tail lights on.
People
so
coming up on you like, whoa.
Yeah. There was this semi truck on the interstate getting all up in my stuff. Guys, what is happening? I'm trying to get home here. I can't see.
Why is everybody on me? That's hilarious.
I was so embarrassed and stuff. And I was so convinced last night that I was just going to be blind for half the day. Right.
Yeah.
When there's no sunlight, my vision is impaired to the point where I can't see anything.
So awesome.
I'm a liability to myself and others. And I didn't have
just
the
not going to make
headlights
it,
on.
guys. Lights on. hilarious.
So, and now I don't see this is the thing. He said, when I rolled down the window, I could actually hear him. He said, your lights aren't on. There must be on auto, which don't work. They only work in tunnels. This is some old guy, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Barreling out of his car. Your lights aren't on. They're on auto. They don't work at night. And now I'm thinking, well, do I even know if they work on auto? I mean, now I don't know because I'm doubting everything about what I know about driving at night now in this vehicle.
So much self-doubt on this day. you just hit that wall.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways,
all right.
I don't know what else to say other than it's still a mixture of embarrassment, complete self-doubt about that. And anyways, make sure your lights are on, I guess. Your
lights are on auto. Your lights, they don't work on auto.
That would be a typical day, right?
Yeah. I mean,
they just don't work on auto, right? But somehow I've managed to drive this car for a year with headlights until last night.
I thought you were gonna say, I realized I've never driven this car at night. You're like, my lights have never worked.
Well, the thing is, I don't think I had driven it at night since getting the oil changed, right? And so that was the first time. And anyways, that's yeah.
All right, cool.
So,
well,
that's that.
Thanks for that full disclosure. I mean, that's a little pretty funny. I mean,
yep.
At least the cops didn't stop you for not having your lights on.
That's the irony, right? I was right next to a cop and he didn't notice me.
Yeah,
to tell me that my lights weren't on, and so I was all thinking, why is this cop not moving? Right? Why isn't he even acknowledging that I'm there? And well, couldn't see me.
Good.
So, anyways, what's on the docket this week? We picked a movie called Morbius.
Morbius. It's Jared Leto. But you left the episode last week talking about him being a cult leader, Jared Leto.
Yeah.
Who's the lead actor in this. And I can't find anything that officially rules that he was in a cult, but his band 32nd of Mars had like a 3-day weekend in Greece. And it's kind of been a running joke with their band that were like their fans are like a cult. And so, I mean, I couldn't corroborate the fact that he was a cult leader. There was a picture of him all dressed in white like Jesus with a bunch of his fans. But I didn't have anything.
Look, that's all I had referenced or had seen. So
okay.
So I don't know.
I don't know.
It looked pretty cultish.
It did, yeah. No, I agree.
And it's only young women at this thing, and he's in the center of all of them.
He's 50 years old now, too. So he's not a young gun.
Well,
he looks young,
I think part of it is personally to me, he just has an unsettling face. I can't really pinpoint the reason why. He just creeps me out, man. And so that's it's a bias on my eyes. The eyes are too narrow. I think that's what the deal is. They're too close together.
They're so light, but then he has those dark eyes. So he's got butthole eyes, and then he's got these little shiners in the middle. So that doesn't. And this whole movie, that's what he has too. Like his eyes are sunken, and then he's got these little white little snippets.
Oh, was that Brian who first said that? He posts a photo of himself to the lounge and says, "I have butthole eyes."
I don't think he announced he had butthole eyes. I think he had butthole eyes.
Someone commented on that. Okay,
or was that was me?
Did he comment?
Yeah, Yeah.
That's right. Okay. And so now any time someone posts a picture of their eyes, just even though remotely close to being looking tired, it's just butthole eyes.
Yeah.
Anyways, look, I'm not going to condemn the guy for having a face that I personally find a little bit distracting in a bad way.
Yeah.
But I will say, I don't like him as an actor. I think the only thing he can act well is a skeleton. And you mentioned how he makes himself super thin and stuff for roles. And look,
Dallas Buyers Club specifically. I mean, he was pretty
and
good.
He's super skinny in this one. But look,
I guess that was
making yourself skinny does not mean you're acting, right? And so, anyways,
he's one of those. Okay, so that's a good segue. And so he's one of those people that really is into method acting and like getting into the character for long periods of time. So there was a note mentioned about him that said, let's see, I gotta find the direct line there. He was so committed to capturing Michael Morbius, like limping state and using crutches, that he even did it off camera. And it turned out to be like really frustrating for the crew, because at one point it said it took him 45 minutes to go to the bathroom. So the workaround for the crew was the loophole, so they could keep him in character, was to put him in a wheelchair.
I mean, that's super. I think if I were somehow related to production that involved people like that, that has to be just so annoying, right? And just rude to other people's time, right?
Right. That it's one of those things. It's, acting is an art, yes, but there are people who take it beyond what it needs to be, and that's one of those prime examples. So maybe it works for some people, and Daniel Day-Lewis does it as well, and he's very good, but he probably is just as annoying to deal with when it comes to this kind of stuff. Yeah.
I will counter again, though, and say Jared Leto isn't a good actor even when he method acts. And so I think
I can't say this was his best work. That's for sure.
I think in general, he's just kind of a dud. But as is this movie.
Yeah. I had some questions before we start getting into facts or anything, but so is this Marvel, or is it Marvel adjacent, or is it something else?
I mean,
because
I think what happens is
this and Venom are Marvel, but they're not in the Marvel universe, I guess.
Yeah, I think as I understand some of the Marvel hierarchy or rights is that Sony owns Spider-Man, right? And then all the offshoots from that. This must have been some kind of Spider-Man related license type thing. So that's why.
I mean, there's like 50 million references to different comic books in this movie.
Yeah. And so it's like similar to how X-Men, that's owned by Fox, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why they're not in the other, Marvel thing. And so, yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Because there is a line where they mention Venom, or like what happened in San Francisco, which is where Venom happened. So it's like they're slowly like trying to build these connections.
Gotcha.
To it.
Yeah. Well, then there was the two credit scenes that were about one of the Spider-Man movies or something, I think.
Yeah, it was the is it Vulcan? The Vulcan is like a bad guy. Is he a bad guy? Good guy?
Vulture? I don't know.
Vulture. Yeah. Okay.
I'm not really a Spider-Man enthusiast.
I'm not either.
So yeah, it's a little bit weird. Well, there's all these kind of Marvel pieces that are scattered across different studios.
Okay.
But I had never heard of Marcus Morbius or whatever this is.
Morbius. It's Morbin Time. Oh, let me read the synopsis, and then I have some little facts, and then we'll jump into it.
Okay.
I just came up with this one recently, so hopefully
good.
It's at least good.
Good.
A whiz kid, Michael Morbius, has a blood disorder, devotes his life to cure himself and take the inspiration from vampire bats. He keeps doing tests on a single mouse for a special serum, and once he sees success, decides to go on a cargo ship and inject himself. He cures himself, but there's one catch. He becomes a vampire that needs to keep drinking blood to sustain himself. Soon his homie Milo says, "Give me some," and he says, "Nah." He steals the serum, and they both become bat boys, and they fight each other for 45 minutes. Michael develops antibodies using a printer-turned-centrifuge and harnesses a swarm of bats to help kill Milo Pilo, and leaves the plot open for a second movie we hope they never make.
Very nice. That's a good one.
The budget on this was $75 million, and the box office ended up doing it since it went out twice. $163 million. So
163 million in just troll dollars, right?
Yeah.
Do you know, for reference, do you happen to know what a big time Marvel movie budget would be?
Well, I can tell you. Okay, so Iron Man 3 from 2013 was $200 million.
Whoa!
So that would give you reference. I mean, it's not an Avenger movie, but yeah.
Wow. Okay. What was
Captain America?
What was things like Endgame and that?
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Avengers Endgame. $356 million.
Hooey.
That's a lot.
Wowzers.
Yeah.
That's like 5 Morbiuses.
5 Morbiuses. Well, it probably would have been better than. Well, anyways. Yeah.
Wow.
So this, 93 cast, about 1,000 crew. And the first thing I was trying to figure out is like, so this went to Netflix, and that's where I was like, well, isn't this a Marvel movie? Like, why is it on Netflix?
Yeah.
But the Sony thing kind of makes it
I
connect. But the funny part is that Netflix was talking about the response to this movie on Netflix has been so strong that there's potential that it could be a second one in the works. And I just laughed. So like, there's no way, man. Like,
yeah. I mean, I remember just the trolling about it. And
so
just
funny.
everyone was just making a joke of it. Obviously, for good reason, right? I mean, it completely makes sense, but how they, studios don't care, right?
No.
Almost, I mean, what'd you say? $100-something million?
136 million is what they made. 163. Yeah.
So they almost got their investment back, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, it depends on how much. Well, so this film got done in 2019. So they had to sit on it for 2 years. But the other thing that was funny is they initially launched that it said it was going to launch like October 2020. Then it got pushed to like January 2021. Then it got pushed again and again and again. And the weekend that it actually released, a week before, they decided to push it back a week. So they just kept pushing it back. So,
wow.
But yeah, I don't. This whole thing starts, with Leto, walking with a cane as a little kid, and some other kid comes that has 2 crutches and
hold on,
grease for some reason. Okay,
yeah, you're forgetting a part.
Oh,
very beginning of the movie.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's little stuff like this that I noticed right away that just ticked me off. Right, they're somewhere in Costa Rica, right? And Leto steps off this helicopter, middle of the jungle, right?
Oh yeah.
steps off. The first line of this movie, I think, is Jared Leto's stepping off of the helicopter with these walking sticks things. And
Crutches.
the pilot says, "Do you need a doctor?" That's the first line of the movie. "Do you need a doctor?" They've been in that helicopter together for hours, probably.
Yeah, right.
You saw him walk into the helicopter.
Saw him get in with the crutches.
Yeah. Saw him get in. They probably, I don't know, chit-chatted maybe at least a couple times. He told them where they were going, right? Because, I mean, he looks physically ill. He looks pale. Right. Yep. And so now 4, 5, 6 hours later, the guy says, it's the first line of this movie, "Do you need a doctor?" And so what are we doing here? What's going on here? This is how we're going to start this.
Well, that's I was trying to skip over that, the fact, because then all of a sudden it's like shoots back to Greece 25 years ago. Yeah. Where there's just these kids that are crippled getting sent to some island. It just makes no sense. Like,
yeah. Right. And so
must be rich kids. Rich kids get sent off to this hospital where this guy specializes in this blood to help these kids with this blood issue.
Yeah. So the kid that shows up, he ends up being super rich, or he was rich at the time, right? His parents shuttle him off. The main character though, Marbat or whatever his name is, he's just sitting there chilling on his bed, right? Yeah. And okay, did you notice he has been there? They say he's been there for the longest period of time, right? Yeah. He predates the caretaker of this place, or the doctor, or some overseer, right?
Yeah. He says, Michael's been here longer than me.
Yeah. And so the kid, almost in a hazing way, the new kid shows up, gets on the bed next to Morbius. Yeah. And kid Morbius says, "Yo, you're the doctor introduced him as Lucius or something." And the Morbius says, "Yeah, so you're Milo now." And the kid says,
"What?"
"I'm Lucius." And he says, "No, you're Milo." And the weird thing is, then the doctor just starts calling him Milo. Did you pick up on that? Like, he's getting beat to hell by these bullies later on, and he's saying Milo. And then as an adult, he's still the guy's doctor, and he calls him Milo because the Morbius, as, I don't know, some kind of mean joke, names him Milo because of all the other kids that came before him and died.
Yes. Like, what? I mean, there's a part where he's like, he was Milo before, it's gonna be there's gonna be another Milo after you, and it's like,
but it's just the doctor calling that kid Milo it made no sense whatsoever. But so the first thing you see about Morbius is that he's, I don't know, does origami, and then his homie next to him, he's Lucius Milo, passes out mid conversation, right? And and his little, I think it was medical device, blood transfusion thing, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So his little blood transfuser starts beeping. Okay. Yeah. Right. The kid immediately passes out. Morbius takes apart a ballpoint pen, cracks open the machine, finds this random fuse that was blown, and then puts the spring in place to reconnect the circuit, right?
Sure. Yep.
Do you know what the point of a fuse is? The point of a fuse is to break, right? It's designed to break so as to not basically start whatever the thing is on fire. And, so this kid is hacking this instrument, and like in ways that it was specifically not designed to do, right? And then so then he gets shuttled off to genius school or something.
Well, yeah, he's like, it's literally like, you know what, Michael, I think you could do good because, you know, you took a pen apart and you put that piece in. So I think you're super smart. So let's send you to New York.
So let's send you somewhere else. Let's send you to school, buddy. You've been here long enough, right?
Yeah. So it's basically, it's like, we'll send you off. And he sends this note to Milo, basically like, yo, Milo, I'm going to go find a cure for us.
Peace.
See ya.
Peace.
Milo
See you in the summer.
Milo just gets beat with the crutches.
Okay. Now, in line with how it doesn't make any sense that the caretaker doctor calls the kid Milo, right? When his name is Lucius, and the kid has super rich parents, right? And so there probably like, should be some respect there, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
For his own sake of keeping his job or something, right? Okay, that doesn't make any sense. Does it make any sense that so the next scene is Morbius getting a Nobel Prize, right?
Yep. Yes.
And it's the same orphanage doctor presenting it to him. What?
Yes.
What did he have to do at all with the Nobel Prize? He's like, on behalf of the Swedish king, I bestow upon to you the Nobel Prize. And it's just, why?
Yeah, I don't know. He developed synthetic blood. So
that wasn't good enough for him, right?
Yeah,
could it be because it's not working?
He said it was a failed experiment. I mean, so he rejected it. While he's just been sitting around mixing bat blood with human blood.
Yeah. So, okay, let me I think I understand the science insofar as to explain what his goal here is.
That'd be great because the movie didn't do a very good job.
Well, let me see if I can do a good job. Okay. He has this undisclosed blood disorder, right?
Yes.
Don't know what the problem is. Might be made up, right? He just needs blood transfusions all day.
Could just be in his head too. You never know.
Yep. His hypothesis is that of all the species on the planet, there's one that can consume blood for energy.
Yep.
That's the vampire bat. But they are too evolutionarily distinct from humans to be able to share that trait with or that humans can have that trait. So he wants to make chimeric cells, whatever that means. I don't know what that means. that makes no sense to have a chimeric cell, just as a science term, unless it has, I guess, part bat DNA, part human DNA. Okay.
Yes. Got it.
The whole point, so he can't make his own blood or something, or his blood sucks. I guess that's the gist from something. His genius plan, because synthetic blood didn't work, to make him not have to rely on blood transfusions is just to eat blood. So instead of getting it, and it doesn't really seem like it's a fix for. So his current problem is that he needs fresh blood all the time, right?
Yeah.
And it's delivered into his arm, into his vein, directly into the, where it needs to be. And so his genius solution is to not fix the problem with needing extra blood. It's so that he can just swallow it.
Yes.
That is the whole point of this movie, of him going to Costa Rica on a 6-hour helicopter flight, not talking to the pilot once, I guess, collecting a bunch of bats just so that he can eat blood.
Bats.
So he has this laboratory that's inside of a clinic or hospital or something, right?
Yeah.
And he has this
it's cool.
super secret lab that's just his, that is encased in glass, right? So the whole thing is visible from the outside, or from the hallways. But he has this strange cylinder in the middle of it that's the glass is frosted and stuff, until a colleague walks in and just deactivates the frost right away. And then there's just all these bats that he brought back from Costa Rica. And he said, I wouldn't do that, because now you're guilty as well, me having these imported bats that I shouldn't have brought in. but it's just you can see people in the back of the shots walking around with
the door's always open.
The door is open with clear visual access to these bats. And he's saying, nah, these are here by secret. Nobody knows about these. And then a nurse walks in directly right next to them and says, yeah, one of your patients is, not doing so well.
Well, so this is a perfect encapsulation of further on in the movie, he's suspected of murdering someone. He gets on a bus. He is wearing a hoodie. You can't see him, trying to keep a low profile. Next scene, hoodie off, eating breakfast at a restaurant.
I had the exact same note where
it's just like, what are you doing?
While he's in public, he then puts on his hoodie multiple times so as to not be noticed in public. But he does it in public. It's just so dumb, right?
Yeah. But the one thing, I sent you a text about this today, but like he keeps just injecting this serum into a mouse. And like this one time a mouse, it looks like it dies. And so it's like, okay, I guess the test is done. We have one mouse. That's it. Like just one mouse per test. And if it dies, then it didn't work. And then we get another mouse and we inject it. But he looks like one of these mice have died. And then just one mouse. And then it wakes back up and he's like, you know what? We're going to have to go to international waters.
Yeah.
And go on a boat. But this also, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to add to the scene that you described about the mouse, right? So he's in his lab, right, with his colleague, who's telling him, this is all illegal and stuff, and don't do this and whatever. And so he's getting these vials ready of these injections. And he's wearing a single glove. The glove holding the vial, right? Naturally. And he reaches in the mouse cage, no glove, manipulates the mouse with a non-gloved hand and injects the mouse, right?
Yeah.
Mouse immediately dies. Instantaneous death, right? Then the nurse comes in, walks next to the bats, by the way, and says, yo, come out, check out Sally or whatever. And so they leave the lab, go down a different hallway, and enter this patient ward room where the girl, she's whatever. After he's touching her now with the same hand that he handled the mouse, and and then perfect. So this is a medical emergency, right? It's Morbius, the other doctor colleague, in this different area, in this patient
little girl
room.
That's having
little girl, seizures, convulsing, whatever. And he says, we got to put her in a coma or something. I don't know. Mm-hmm. And so the other doctor says, nurse, prep 20 milligrams of blah, blah, blah. And then the nurse just happens to have that exact dose of that exact thing. And so it just immediately hands it over. Right.
Yeah.
So the little girl stabilizes. The instant that she stabilizes, this other doctor colleague thing kind of just casually glances over because she's so bored about what's happening in the room, and notices around the corner, down the hall, and around another corner that the mouse is alive in the cage. They left the lab and went to a different area. And then this doctor sees the mouse from a long ways away, around corners, right? Light is bending around these.
Yeah.
And it's just the timing of it, though. This girl almost died in the nanosecond she gets into a coma. This other person's, that mouse is alive. You did it. I just have them walk back to the lab and discover it at the same time. I don't know. Right. It's so stupid. Why it adds nothing to have that kind of revelation, right?
No, it doesn't.
On the heels of or just not
Well-
have the little girl be there at all, or in a coma, or needing a coma,
and
or
that's
something,
the
right?
other part that's so weird about this movie is like it's that same thing where like you are building up this little girl's like this is like his patient, like this is the person he cares about a lot, and
Mhm.
like you see her twice, and then all of a sudden she's just gone. You don't know what happens,
Yeah,
and it's just like
doesn't matter.
why put it in there? Like, what did that do
Yeah.
to help build this character?
Yeah, especially since he makes a kind of cure for himself only, right? And the cure is to turn him into this bat person.
Yeah, it's so
and so
selfish.
at no point, and then he kills a bunch of people and has to flee, right? And
Yeah.
so at no point does what he do contribute to this little girl character's cure or healthcare in any way.
No, he's
And so
solely
it's
self-motivated. Like there's nothing.
Yeah. And so
It-
to introduce this girl in any capacity serves no purpose, right? No
None.
narrative purpose at all.
No.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
We're like getting to like the first 20 minutes. So for the first 20 minutes, like nothing happens. I
You
marked
find some
that 20
bats
minutes.
and- yeah.
Yeah, and at 20 minutes, it's Michael and Milo Pilo sitting on a bench, just talking to each other, and then all of a sudden
Holy
they're
smokes. Yeah.
on the, and then all of a sudden they're on the boat, international waters, and he's doing this experiment again, and it's test 243. So finally made it to human trials, aka a mouse
Yeah.
lives, so he's going to do it on himself.
This part also he injects the mouse with these chimeric cells.
Yes.
Things that he's already admitted to being morally and ethically dubious, right? And he tells his colleague, look, don't be here, because if you're not here, you don't know what to lie about, right? Or not lie about.
Yeah.
So he's already done the research. And then he says, now we have to go to international waters. That makes no sense. He's already done it.
He's going to do it on himself. You don't understand.
But so, okay.
Well, here's the real question. How did they get the boat? Who did they hire these mercenaries? How does that happen? He's just
I
a
guess
doctor
it's
in a lab.
Yeah. Well, it's the Milo, right? He's super rich, right? So he hooked him up.
That's it. Yeah,
and
that's right.
But
Part of
what
the bench conversation.
Yeah. And Spenny's describing this bench conversation. There's runtime of this movie is these two hobbling around New York City talking about girls just to get to a bench for him to say, I need money. I'm really close. I need money because of that one mouse. It was like everything else to this point, completely irrelevant, adds nothing to any shred of interest of what's happening here. It was at this point that I realized that I could, on a Netflix web browser, increase the speed to 1.5x, and that's how I watched the rest of the movie.
You're such a cheat. Okay, so let's get to the. So he gets on the ship.
Yeah.
His partner or friend injects him, and she locks him in a room. And one of the mercenary guys comes down like, I'm gonna go check out what's going on down here, and he's not there. They can't find him, so they open the door, and what happens? This MFer is
Morbin
turned
time.
into it's Morbin time. This MFer just starts attacking and sucks the blood right out of the mercenary, and then the girl gets knocked over. The guy calls before he dies to have everybody come down. So 8 mercenaries come down, and Morbin is just Morbin all over him, and he's sucking the blood out of every single one. And then he realizes who he is. Like, he comes to after he's killed all these people, and he sends an SOS to check on the ship, and then he just jumps off it, and the FBI shows up. It's like,
Spenny, 2 questions here. Why are there people there with guns?
No idea.
Why are there mercenaries there? The friend
What's the
hired
point?
the boat for his friend to find a cure for him, right? Who he trusts, right? It's not like he's going to screw him over. There was no indication that he was going to screw Morbius over. So why are there people there with guns?
Because they didn't know how the experiment was going to go. You know, maybe he turns into a vampire and starts sucking everyone's blood, so they have to try and kill him.
Just why are there any guns there? It doesn't make any sense.
That's just a
why,
Marvel movie. It's just how these Marvel things are. That's just like people have guns everywhere.
Why does the American FBI show up to investigate a ship in international waters?
I thought that was the whole point of going to international waters, because it had no jurisdiction of the United States.
All of a sudden, Tyrese Gibson steps out of the Fast and the Furious, has about 4 lines in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Acts all tough. His nerd partner has 3 times as many lines as he does.
Whatever that guy's name was, yeah. Jordan,
why is the FBI there?
Jordan, did you know in the trailer, Tyrese has a mechanical arm, and in the movie, he doesn't. Because it would make because they added that line about your blood saved my arm. And so
oh my God.
they had to change it because he's got a real arm.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So all right, the FBI shows up in international waters or something and finds all these corpses and stuff, and you know, they're all like, oh, I guess some kind of vampire guy was here, huh?
Well, yeah, they're like,
look out for a vampire guy.
Well, they're like, somebody sucked him dry and jumped off the and I was like, what?
And they immediately suspect Morbius, right? Because
no, who else could it be?
Right? So they go to the okay. So Morbius goes back to his lab in secret because he has a hoodie on, right?
Yeah, I can't see him if he's got a hoodie on.
While he's there, he checks on a couple of the patients, no hoodie. One of the nurses dies because Milo shows up, shotguns one of his vials of bat blood or bat venom, and becomes a bat boy himself, right?
Yeah, hold on. So, okay. So Michael locks himself in a cage because he's doing all these. Okay, he's doing all these tests on himself to figure out how long he can sustain himself based on the blood and stuff. There's one point where he looks at his watch and he says, "Oh, 6 hours." It's 6 minutes on his watch. So neither here nor there. But then Milo shows up to check on Michael because he realizes he's there. And Milo sees him and he needs blood, and then he sees him drink it, and all of a sudden he's like big and strong. But there's this back and forth where Milo's like, please give it to me, I need it. And Michael's like, nah, I killed people and stuff. And Milo's like, no, I still want it. He's like, nah, I can't control it. And he just walks off. And that was it. That was like the interaction. Just this total like shutdown of like your friend that has the same problem and like not giving any resolution, just being like, I killed people, I can't control it, see ya. And just walks out while the other serum is just sitting there for him to take.
Yep. So okay, there's a small little training montage of him understanding his new abilities, right? He runs on the walls and he does echolocation, and
it vibrates.
He's doing all these trials for what if synthetic blood will satisfy him, or if it had to be real blood. Spenny, what even happens after the 6 hours?
I don't know.
Does he stay a vampire?
Well, that's the part you never know. He gets really irritated.
He gets kind of cranky.
He gets cranky, but then he gets weak again. So that's what I was trying to figure out. Like, wouldn't he just become himself again after a while? Like, it just has to wear off. You never get to find out, because every time he gets to that limit, like he just gets crazy, and then they they throw him another thing of blood, and he just goes.
Yeah. So it just it kind of made me think about it. It reminded me of, isn't there some element of Blade, right, where he has to get some blood or something, or else he's going to turn full vampire or something? Is that the plot of that? So maybe I'm just confusing the two, because they almost painted it as when he was getting really grumpy, he went full bat mode, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But when he gets blood, he goes full bat mode because he's supercharged.
Yes.
So it's not like the vampire side of him is going to just take over with or without blood.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I can't remember exactly how the original Blade, how he dealt with the blood. I can't remember exactly how they did it, but a good point that was thinking about was, so he's synchronizing the bat and the human blood to drink blood, right? Why does it have to be human blood that he drinks? Why can't it be a cow, like a bat? Like all the other sources of blood? Why does it have to be
I don't know.
Human?
I mean, maybe if he tried injecting blood, like, you know, how it normally is done, maybe that'd be more concentrated or something, so you don't have to digest it, right?
Go to a butcher shop and just see if you can catch all the blood that they take from a cow or something. Well,
you're making great points here.
So Morbius actually originally was supposed to actually had a cameo appearance in Blade, so they were connected somehow. But the scene ended up getting deleted, and then the writer from Blade 2 tried to incorporate him into Blade. In Blade 2, they tried to incorporate Mobius again, but Marvel wouldn't allow them because they had just struck a deal with a different entertainment company to do a standalone film for Morbius, which never came to fruition. But
I was going to say, this is back in the early 2000s or something, right? For Blade.
Yep.
And Blade 2 and stuff, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Morbi, he's clearly in his lab, right? This is after all the boat murders, right? He's clearly in his lab, makes a couple rounds with his patients or something, and then one of the nurses dies because Milo becomes Bat Guy and kills her.
That's so his first kill, so he says he has no control, just like Morbius did.
And so so then Morbius decides to leave, but in secret, he puts his hood up, leaves the area that he has just spent 4 or 5 days, right, in plain view of everyone. Yeah. He gets to the lobby, and then the FBI people show up.
That's where the guy says, "You saved my arm."
Yeah. Okay. So they were like, "So where were you on the night of whatever of whatever?" And Morbius says, "I don't know." And he says, the FBI guy says something like, well, you know, we saw this ship and there was a bunch of science stuff on it, and it just looks like some really crazy experiments were going on. A bunch of people died. And Morbius says, it wasn't crazy science. It was good science. So just implicating himself, right? He was just saying he wasn't there, and then he said, it wasn't crazy science. How dare you say that? and then just take him to jail, right? He's just in jail now.
Yeah.
Or no. Okay. This part.
Well, he tried to get away.
He tried to escape.
He tried to escape, and he got to a rooftop, and it turns out that his bones are hollow, and he just starts flying off a building from the wind.
They're in the lobby of a skyscraper, right?
Sure.
He bolts, goes to the staircase or something, right?
Yes.
Shoves a cop out of the way in the process.
How did he learn to fight? Is that part of the Bat Blood? Do you just automatically become a fighter? Because he took a crutch and tripped him, perfect synchronized.
Yeah.
So, just curious.
So he's fighting the other FBI guy, or sucker punches him or something, and then he shoves a cop out of the way. He gets to the staircase area, and then he just bat modes straight to the top, right? Just instant levitation to the top
Yeah.
of this skyscraper, right? So now he's on the roof. Tyrese was chasing him in the lobby, ground floor.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Morby is on the roof now, and just kind of looking around, ditches his bag of backup blood for some reason. And then there's this, like Spenny said, he gets blown around. And then Tyrese is just there. Seconds after he levitated up to the roof.
God, there's
And
so
then-
many inaccuracies on this movie.
I mean, he's done his training montages where he does anti-gravity, hangs off the ceiling, hangs off the side of a thing, you know. He knows how to, he could just jump off the building and scale it down. Instead, he lets himself be arrested.
Yeah.
After running away. So this weird wind interaction made him rethink his something. So then he's in jail, right? Okay.
Yeah.
He's in jail, gets a knock on the door. Hey, you have a visitor. And in comes Milo, right?
Yeah.
Says, it's your lawyer. Milo walks in. Now, I watched this scene. I went back because I had to know something.
Yeah.
This scene when he gets a knock on the door saying, you have a visitor. It's at 51 minutes, 41 seconds runtime. Okay. Milo walks in. The cop thinks it's a lawyer. Okay. They have a 59-second interaction. And then the cop says, time to go. Time's up.
Perfect. Well, it's
Why?
Hollywood time. It's Hollywood time.
Why? It just... Why have
know.
a scene where
know.
it's like you get to talk to your lawyer for exactly 59 seconds, right?
Yeah.
And then he leaves a bag of blood in
I think
plain
the implication
view of
is
everyone.
that I think the implication was like he bought his way in. That's why it was such a short period of time.
Then let him stay as long as he wants.
I don't know.
Like, what difference does that make at that point?
I don't know, but
Anyways.
that's when Morbs realizes that Milo is also a Batman.
That guy.
And yeah, he gets mad.
And he gets mad because he should have taken it.
Chugs some more blood, and now we're getting ready for a double bubble bat rumble. And I mean, this is the end. This through the rest of the movie, this is just these two fighting on and off and killing people they love. And they fly around with like this, I don't know, cloak kind of looking like thing.
Distortion things, right?
Yeah. And the director said that they took the inspiration for the light and colors in the film actually was inspired by Pokemon as well as cosmetic aesthetics.
All right.
So, and there's also a part at the end where Morbius has purple coming off him, and that's a throwback to the comic because that's the color that he always had. So
sick. Okay. There's really not much to say other than, okay, more Milo, right?
Milo just wants to start killing people, man.
Yeah. He shows up. So Morbius drinks the blood, bats his way out of the prison because he wants to go catch up with Milo and say, you shouldn't have done this, right? You messed up. Okay. I don't know how long it's been, but it's probably been the difference of, okay, so Milo killed the nurse in the hospital, I think either that day or maybe the night before, right?
Yep. That's the night before, I think.
Morby has been a bat guy for at least a week or so at this point. And then there's several days, right? Because he was on the ship, he woke up, he got back home, he did his training montage, he did his all of that stuff, right?
He's really honed in. Yep.
He's honed in his stuff. He confronts Milo on the street. Milo says something to the effect of, you don't know how to control this. or you don't even know the limits of this. Bro, Morbius has already killed 8 people, right? And had his own training montage. He knows all the secrets of this thing. And then Milo comes, kills one person, and starts talking this smack about how he's an expert at Bat Boy mode. And then for the rest of the movie, this guy's rich, right? He's filthy rich.
Appears so.
He wears suits
all the time,
and these nasty, ratty old New Balance sneakers. What is this? Why there's a scene where he gets all dressed up and he's all looking in the mirror and stuff, and he's all feeling fine. He's buff for the first time in his life, and he goes to this nightclub and he's hitting on this girl. He puts on this suit with the sneakers on. I don't know.
Well, to be fair, he's had a cane or something, so he needs good walking shoes,
good support
when he walks.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but think that there's like 3 or 4 times he does this stupid little dance, and then he does his little face like he's getting ready, like because he's turning into a bat face. Yeah. And it just always reminds me of Jim Carrey in The Mask. Like that same, it was just that same kind of like, just way of like being weird and stuff. And then you have your mask and transforming yourself. But so basically Milo gets caught on CCTV killing dudes. They never actually show you someone getting killed in this movie. It's always cuts before.
I do find it weird to your point. The scene when they were kids, when Milo was getting beat up by the bullies.
Yeah.
There is part of that scene where you see him get kicked in the face. It's really strange because I thought that you can't like really show kids getting hurt, right?
Interesting.
And so I think he's one of the only people that actually you see get physically assaulted in this movie.
Perfect. What did you think of the CG? Did you think it looked? I mean, compared to what we've looked at recently, it looks way better, obviously. But
yeah, I have to credit. It does look pretty decent.
Okay. There's one thing that all the face transformations were all CG. They weren't prosthetics or anything. Mm-hmm. And Jared Leto said that he opted out of prosthetics for his character for like the monstrous transformation because he thought he knows CG is the future, so he was excited about doing it and wanted to do it, I guess. But
sweet. Sounds like he made a whole bunch of work for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
And took away work from other people who, makeup is their whole thing, right?
Yeah.
He said, no, you group of people don't get to be a part of this.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so Milo steals Michael's girlfriend, who is Bancroft. That's the lady that was out in the boat and all this other stuff. Like they've been like partners for like ever, and all of a sudden like they have their first kiss when he's a vampire. Milo Pilo is across the way just watching them have their first kiss, and Milo takes her.
It's all sad.
Cuts her or something, hurts her.
No, you're forgetting a point.
Okay, did I miss something?
His master plan is to go to their old caretaker, right? / Nobel Prize giver. He calls him up, right, and says, "Yo, you got to come over here." And so that he comes over. Actually, the doctor saw him on TV on the news. Kill the
CCTV stuff
on the CCTV footage, right?
Kill people.
And so the doctor comes over and says, "You know what? I don't support this." Like an addict, right? Like an addict supporter. I don't support what you're doing, but I'm going to stay here and help you fight it out, buddy.
Yeah.
And so Milo mortally wounds him, right? Saying, screw you. I don't need you anymore. I'm going to tear your guts out here and slash your throat. If you could do me a solid, I want you to phone up Morbius, tell him to come over here and tell him I told you to do this, right?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay.
The man that's been
Morb.
taking care of you for 25 years. Just kill him.
Keep in mind, this is part of Milo's plan to get the girlfriend, who he was never girlfriends or in a relationship with, right?
No.
So then the doctor gets a call from Morbius, or calls Morbius. Morbius says, "Yo, what's up, buddy?" And it's like, you know. And so Morbius leaves his lab, leaves the girlfriend or somebody, right? Rushes over there, finds him crumpled in the corner. The doctor is like, and tells him nothing, right?
No.
He gets no words out.
No, isn't he just start like hearing with his other, after the guy dies, that's where it just.
Yeah. So if you know you're going to die, right? And you have enough energy to send a phone call, say whatever you're going to say on the phone, right?
Oh, shit.
So Morbius comes over there, learns nothing, and then uses his bat echolocation to hear sound faster than the speed of sound. Did you pick up on that?
Yeah.
He is hearing in real time stuff that's happening across the city. His bat mode lets him hear sound before it's made.
Apparently.
Then he gets over there. And then I think maybe one of the weirdest parts of this movie is that girl just dies. Right? She just dies. I guess he bites her or something in an attempt to make her a vampire too or something.
Well, I thought it was so that she could give him the energy or something. Take her blood.
Oh, maybe that's it.
Because she knows she's going to die, so she gives him
then
the energy he needs to fight.
In the credits, she turns into a vampire. No,
yeah, she comes back. Well, that's because Morbius 2, you know?
Yeah, but at no point did any of the other people who were killed by these vampires turn back into vampires. So what's up with her?
I don't know. I don't know, man.
I don't know. But then my last 2 points. What about being a bat makes you super strong? Right? Bats are these very fragile mammals. They're just mice, right? With wings.
Yep.
There's nothing special about them.
Well, they also don't know. It's not like they know Kung Fu, but somehow he does.
And then the final showdown is his swarm of bats somehow makes him energized. They don't give him any blood. The whole thing is that he needs blood to be energized. Yeah. And so they just fly around him and then he's back to normal.
Yeah. I don't
know. I know we're being this is a superhero movie or something, right? So there's a lot of things that shouldn't make sense because it's superhero like.
Mm-hmm.
But what's not excusable is just stupidity, right?
Yeah.
Like looking at a mouse from around the corner when they could just delete that scene of why they would need to see it from around the corner, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Well, the way that Milo gets killed by Michael by Milo's doing his best impression of Leonidas throwing his spear, and then the bats are like, nah, and they just all hold him down, and then Michael comes over and just stabs him with antibodies, which him developing the antibodies because he takes the side of a printer apart and turns it into the centrifuge. Like, just another unbelievable. He has nothing. There's nothing there for him to. He breaks into some weird, like, these kids are like counterfeiting dollars or something. It's called a lab.
They call it a lab. Let's get back to the lab.
They're printing money. There's nothing that he can use at that lab. Yet somehow he makes some sort of antibody at that lab. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Oh. I mean, yeah. I guess I guess it can be somehow explained by like when he was a kid fixing dialysis machines with the ballpoint pen spring, he can figure out a way to make anything work with anything else, right?
Yeah.
But still, I mean, to your point, yeah, I don't know.
So we talked about this a little bit last week in the beginning, but so the film generated various memes that ironically praised it and caused that big trend. So Sony saw that as a renewed interest. So they did re-release it in June 2nd, 2022. However, the average amount of money earned at theater, they released it to 1,000 theaters, I think, was $289 per theater. Which is pretty bad.
Wow. I'm sure they're jumping at getting Morbius 2 in, right?
Yeah. Well, and then in this film, he works at Horizon Labs, which that's from Spider-Man. So that's one of the other references.
Okay.
And then, according to Jared Leto, he said this movie is a first date, and he envisions many more Morbius movies to come. We're just getting to know each other, Leto said. He says, this is the kind of at a first step forward, and I just think if you look at Wolverine, you look at Batman, you look at these films, they evolve over time. You know, there's a relationship to develop there, and who knows? But the Sinister Six head to head the Spider-Man will see what the future holds.
That right there is why I can't handle Jared Leto, right? That kind of pedantic nonsense. It's just a stupid response for golly. His ego is so insane.
That's what I just haven't seen him I didn't see him in Suicide Squad, and I haven't seen him in anything, but the Dallas Buyers Club he did a really good job in that. But that's the only one that I really know well. He was in some thriller that we saw too. He was pretty good in. But when you hear those quotes and those comments, it is like, ugh, brother.
Yeah. Well, I went pretty hard on this guy. Should hope I wasn't too negative.
Was there any redeeming qualities?
No.
Neither. All right. Well, this is the Ascension to 10 podcast. We do have an 11-point scale. It goes from Ascension to the 10. All right, Jad.
I'm going to do something a little bit different here.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
Sure.
I'm going to give this a 0.
Oh.
Now, you might be asking yourself,
that's a 12-point scale.
How does a 0 fit onto the Ascension to 10 scale? The answer is it doesn't. And so basically, I'm not giving this a rating. It was so bad. It's so infuriating. So for the first time ever, maybe not the last, we don't know, we got our first 0.
Well, I didn't know you could give zeros. So you basically have decided I'm not going to rate this one? Is that?
I just thought of this. I'm making this up as we go here.
I can't bring myself to give it a Ascension, so I gave it a 0.1. But it's pretty damn close. Gosh.
All right. Nice. You know, I'm starting to think that Spawn may not be an Ascension if this is in existence.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I gave you a pretty hard time about, like going back to change your scores, but
yeah,
man, we have seen some real bubbers. They're terrible.
Yep. So. Well, that's okay though. It's our job, man.
Yep.
It's our job.
Yeah.
Someone's got to do it. Someone's got to be handing out these Ascensions.
Well, we got to let the people know. What you can watch and what not watch. Yeah.
I almost forgot. Okay.
Oh, okay.
This is okay.
Yeah.
I watched Soul, a Pixar movie.
Yeah.
Soul last week.
Yes.
Best movie I've ever seen. Full stop. Easy. Not even a question. Best movie I've ever seen.
Ever seen?
Ever seen.
Hmm.
Now, I'm not saying it's the best thing I've ever seen because that's Severance right now, season 1. But this is easily the best movie I've ever seen.
Or is it the best animated movie?
No, it's the best movie I've ever seen.
Interesting.
So if you haven't seen it, I encourage you to watch it. It's brilliant. It's so amazing.
It's on
the
Disney,
visuals
right?
on it.
So
yeah, the visuals are. I mean, everything that Pixar pumps out it looks incredible, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But the concepts behind this are so stunning and so clever, and all the animations, the music is a big part of it, and playing music, and all of the animations of him playing piano with all the fingers and the way the key responds, and people playing trombone, and the drumming and the the upright bass. And have you seen it, Spenny?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay.
I've been waiting for our kids to get a little older to watch it.
You should just watch it.
Okay.
Because it and then there's this, I mean, I'm sure you know it. It's about like life and death kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. Yep.
The way they handle that is it's just so good. And there's periods where these, without spoiling anything, there's these two-dimensional, these beings that present themselves as two-dimensional, to human souls, but they interact in the world in four-dimensional ways, and the scenery is full of four-dimensional objects, and it's just so freaking good. So
cool. Nice.
So yeah, that's all I can say about that. After a movie like this, I needed to give some positivity here. So
I mean, those are the polar opposites, not only in probably the level of production, or not. I shouldn't say production, but level of quality, but also probably the story and everything. So,
and just the message of living life and what it even means, and why do it at all, and where you're going.
Yeah.
It's not just for kids.
I mean, after you thought you were blind, I'm sure that was probably
so much perspective, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, that's cool. No, I will say that people should watch Soul as well. So,
just do it.
So if you get anything out of this episode, watch Soul on Disney.
Yep.
Cool. Well, I think
what's next
to pick a movie. I am going back to the 80s with a guy named Emilio Estevez, and we are going to watch Maximum Overdrive.
Oops.
It is a Stephen King.
So is this the one where the cars are alive?
It's the semi-truck.
And all the cars are communicating to each other by honking and putting their blinkers on, and like
could be. I guess you'll have to watch it and find out.
All right. Maximum Overdrive. Weren't you mentioned? So you were bringing that up recently, right?
Yeah, I think I was another option that I was going to do, and I decided we're going to do it because I think when Maximum Overdrive episode comes out, it'll be in October, and I think we're going to decide that October is going to be the month of vehicle sci-fi.
Gotcha. Yep.
Or vehicles.
I mean, the movie that I'm going to assign is not sci-fi, but I think probably worth reviewing.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, if you guys have any recommendations, if you have any corrections for us, you have any typical day stories, or anything that you just want to mention to us, you can reach us at boys@ascension210.com. You can see our website, ascension2ten.com. Find us on our socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at Ascension 210, and then our YouTube is Ascension 210 Podcast, which we do the full episodes on there. So if you prefer to digest your podcast via video, we can do that as well.
Yeesh.
Yeesh. Shoot, there was one other. We will follow up update on a poll that we put up, I think a couple of weeks ago, as it relates to the buzz, and see what people think of it. Think of the time of recording, we haven't had enough data to announce it. So
That's right. We're recording on this on the day that episode is in reference to. So
right. So not everyone probably had time to listen to it today.
yeah. So alrighty.
Well, he's Jad. I'm Spinny. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ascension to 10.